Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a knife video for you. Today we've got the Ferrum Forge Stinger, which is a collaboration with We Knives. Ferrum Forge has a bunch of great collaborations with We Knives. I like Ferrum Forge designs a whole lot, and I love the collaborations they've done. They have a bunch of them. The ones that stand out to me are the Crux, the Buck. Both of those were mass drop distributed. They've got the Malice, the Fortis 2.0, the Archbishop 2.0. Anyway, lots and lots of great knives, and I think this belongs right on that list. The nice thing about this is it's definitely a little more budget friendly than most of those other options we've talked about. So that's going to be, I think, appealing to a broader audience. Now, this is a little small for me and my channel. Most of the time, I kind of draw the line at 3.5 inches. This guy is a little under that. So let's hit size and weight first of all. 7 5/16 is the overall length, 3 3/16 on the blade, 4 1/8 inch handle, 3.5 inch grip area. Okay, so that's right in here. How much room do you have for your fingers? About 3.5 inches. Okay, that's obviously not including the choil. And the weight on this is a very easy to carry 2.5 ounces. In terms of size, weight, and carry, this is a little smaller than I like because of that size, and really it's actually pretty slim and small even for its size. So because of the small size, of course this carries really, really well in pocket. You would hardly even know that you've got a knife with you, which is very, very enjoyable. Not going to spend a whole lot of time on size and weight. Let's get into the blade. The blade is something I do really, really like, and that's pretty typical of my response to Ferrum Forge knives. This one happens to be a drop point with a full flat grind, basically full flat grind right up to the fuller here. And in fact, there is a bit of a rise there, which is extremely helpful, and I'll talk about that in a couple of minutes when we get to deployment. You can see that very, very matted out stonewash finish. Really well done. Great little details here. So notice the chamfering on the blade. Very, very thin behind the edge. Nitro V steel here, which is a really nice sort of budget-ish, sort of a middle of the road steel, often compared to 14C28N, which probably means you could compare it well to VG10. Good edge retention, nice and stainless, really, really nice steel, especially at this price point. So the blade, I think, is a big, big win just all the way around. It offers something a little different in the steel department. The looks are very, very attractive, and the finishing is, there's a lot of attention to detail here. Very nicely finished knife. And in terms of performance, you've got this, it's not a super thick blade stock, and it's nice and thin behind the edge, so this cuts so, so well. I've often talked about this, and I'll say it again. There we go. Pretty fine point on this, so if you're opening clamshell packages or something like that, it's going to get in there really, really well, or maybe taking out a sliver, but it will also break. So if you're not careful, you could snap that tip off. So just be aware of that. Yeah, so there's the blade. Really happy with that. Moving on to the action, since we're talking about stuff, these are probably the two favorite things. The blade, I wish there was more of it, but otherwise it's fantastic. And the action is just so, so fidget friendly. So it's a liner lock. You can see flipper tab here, very small flipper tab. The detent is really, really dialed in. It just flips quick and extremely enjoyable. Spidey flicks just as well, but it can also thumb flick. There you go. Nice and easy drop shut there. All right, so in terms of action, this is a huge win. I love the way you can spidey flick the fuller there. And one of the reasons that works so well is there is a bit of a drop. So as I kind of slide up the blade, I can feel a little ledge there that I catch on, and it works really, really good for deploying the knife. So thumb flick, spidey flick, really, really enjoyable. This is one of the funnest fidget knives that I have handled. Just so well done from that regard. The action is smooth, everything is accessible, the lock bar is accessible, the tension is good, the detent is great. I mean, it's all that we pretty much have come to expect from Civivi. Very, very nicely done action. Last thing to talk about is, of course, the handle. And I will admit, guys, this handle is not quite as good as perhaps it could be. It's a little better when I get my finger in here and choke up a bit. Now, part of that is, one of the big things I like about larger knives, one of the reasons I steer myself purposely toward larger knives, is I like that extra handle real estate. I like feeling like I can really get a hold of something and do some work. And this, yeah, it's a little small. My hands really feel cramped. When I go up into the very generous choil, it gets a little better, but I could still wish for a more substantial handle. The other thing is the proud liners here. They're not uncomfortable, but if these were nested liners, I think it would be even that much better. And so, I've said a couple of times I wish this was bigger, and I do like it. And even as it stands, if this was just bigger, I would buy one and own it forever. However, in a perfect world, they would make this knife with, if they're going to go to a bigger size, make it bigger with nested liners as well. That would just top it off a little extra bit. The pocket clip is single position, all right, very, very small, nice and deep carry, flush screw there, G10 back spacer. Notice that, there you go, you can kind of see it there. They have milled this out internally to save weight. There we go, focusing on my fingers, not the knife. So you can see that pretty clearly. They've pretty heavily milled that out to cut the weight down. That's how they hit that 2.5 ounce point. Again, so I like most things about how this handle is constructed. It could be just a little bit better. If these liners were at least just flush, I think that would make a little bit of a difference, although not much. The big thing would be for this to be a slightly bigger knife, and then I think it would just fit my hand a little bit better. And I don't have that huge of hands, at least I don't think I do, but I just don't like to put up with the small handles that you get on these smaller knives. Let's go ahead now and get into some comparisons. I don't have a lot that is really, really close to this on size. I do want to throw in one Civivi. It's the only Civivi I have around right now. This is the Rustic Gent. Really, really nice knife. I'm not usually a fan of traditionals, and I'm not usually a fan of small knives, but this is very impressive. And the reason I brought this in is just because to demonstrate, like, Civivi does such a great job. And this is built by Civivi, built by we, I guess, but it's like a Civivi. And, I really, really appreciate that. I will point out this little nice detail. Check out the Ferrum Forge logo on the pivot screw. That is very, very classy and very attractive, I think. Let's see, what else do I have that's sort of similar? Let's throw in a couple of liner locks. Here's a Rat Model 1. This would obviously be more comparable to a Rat 2, but it should give you, one, an idea of size, and two, just to point out, there's a sort of a similarly constructed knife. I do want to throw this guy in here. This is the Kaiser bag letter in carbon fiber. And what's crazy about this is it weighs about the same. It's a liner lock on bearings, so similar action, similar deployment. Obviously, this is a larger knife for sure. But I will say this, if you like something that's light and easy to keep in your pocket, this might be a compelling option for you, as would be the Zero Tolerance 0707. Let's throw a pair of 2 in. Now, obviously, this would be more comparable to a pair of 3, but I don't have one because I don't feel the need for it. I like the pair of 2, and just having the same knife but smaller, especially to me, does not make any sense. Finally, another knife that I think could be a competitor here, the Cold Steel American Lawman. Yes, it's bigger. It's not massively bigger. Similar, ergonomic style with the finger choil there. Still very slim, very capable knife. And around the same price, which makes this pretty darn compelling. Thought I would throw that in as well. So what are my overall thoughts on the Stinger? I think this is a really, really cool knife. It's a great designer. I love Ferrum Forge designs. I know it's not a single person, but I really, really do like their designs a lot. I love their collaborations with WE knives. This is a nice size, especially if either one, you have size restrictions, two, you do any kind of activity where you want a lighter knife that's sort of less intrusive in terms of what you have to carry around with you. You know, this is a pretty big win all around. Go ahead and check out Southern Edge Knife Works. They did have some of these in stock. I'm not 100% sure they will now, but you can kind of watch it over there. I don't know if I can't promise you that White Mountain Knives has ever had these, but you can use my discount code at both places and hopefully have some luck that way. Thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will talk to you soon.